Hi, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We are moving on today to our mono red staples. I'm kind of calling this toolbox now. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but anyway, mono red budget staple cards. So today we are looking at the first one of that, which is going to be the creatures. So here we go. So what is a staple? Cards that are frequently played and considered very useful in a range of strategies. One thing I want to say is that this is very similar for all the videos, so if you've seen an earlier one, you might want to skip ahead to the creatures chapter. But anyway, staples are widely used and are broadly known to players. So the tricky thing about kind of showing people a list of staples is that usually everyone knows all the staples already. A lot of the cards I am presenting have a very specific function or role in a particular type of deck. I am referring to them as toolbox cards more so than staples. So yeah, I think toolbox card would be more accurate than staple. I'm looking for mostly lesser known cards that may be useful, okay? So I want cards that maybe you guys haven't seen before. Or I guess the other thing I'm looking for is cards that have gone way down in value. So I definitely am looking at a lot of cards that maybe were like the $5 to $10 range before. I don't consider that budget, but anyway. Here we go. There are 5 basic colors in Magic: white, blue, green, red, and black. All of the color combinations have their own names. So for instance, if you have a combination of black and blue, that's called the mirror, right? So here we're going mono red. So when we say mono red, it is only red. The card is only red, or a deck that's mono red is only red. Yeah. Red is the fastest and most aggressive color, but it also has decks for artifacts and other strategies. So a lot of times you have like burn, it's called, where you are just casting lots of spells and doing direct damage. There's also strategies for like tokens and artifacts. I guess goblin token, mono red is very common, but anyway, yeah. What is budget? Again, this kind of, I stopped myself from discussing this earlier, but anyway. There are many definitions of budget. It is a very subjective term. Magic cards can be very expensive, so some people think that under $10 is budget. Even some of the cards that I have put in this video and last video, or the last series, the green series, they're ones that were like $5 to $10 range and came way down to $1 or less. So I'm including some of those, not because people have never seen them before, but they might not realize, oh, this is like super cheap now. Like Keeper of Fables. Yeah. Definitely a card you should buy. I'm just gonna say buy. Not consider. But anyway. Many budget cards useful. This is a lot more niche than staples usually are. I mean, budget cards are cheap too. Anyway, so budget red creatures is what we're looking at here, alright? And so there are a lot of things to show you. Fumiko, the low blood. This is a human samurai with Bushido X. So Bushido X, it means the number of attacking creatures. She gets plus X plus X. So with against some strategies, this is very good. Against something like Voltron, where they're making one creature very powerful, this is almost useless, right? If they're attacking with only one creature, she gets +1, +1. Nah, who cares, right? But the most important thing about this one, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able. So mandatory attacking. In their first main phase, they can tap if it has some kind of tap ability, but basically by the end of their turn, no creature can be untapped, is what it means. It means no blocking. You're the only one that gets to block anymore. they are very possibly going to attack and be like, well, you're forcing me to attack, I'm going to attack you. I would recommend having an answer for that. But yeah, if you can somehow make it so they can't attack you, then hey, that's great. And also, yeah, taking away their ability to block just is like free damage, basically, right? So anyway, 52 cents. Very good. Hunted Dragon. This one was actually recommended to me, so I appreciate that. Combines flying and haste. So again, in the last video I was like flying death touch, and next video actually I'm gonna be like that too. Mono black, yeah, flying death touch, totally, and green. But anyway, flying haste is actually very effective too. Again, the thing about haste is you're throwing this on the battlefield and then just going, right? You're going to attack right away. Usually, you just launch right out into an attack with the creature. So this is a 6/6 for 5. A flying 6/6. First of all, usually most flyers are not that tough, right? They don't do that much damage or have that high a toughness. So this is very, very high for a flyer. Also, it only costs 5 mana. So turn 5, you can bust this out. That's really good. Really good. The downside is that when it comes in, target opponent creates 3 2/2 white knight creature tokens with first strike. Again, that's kind of a political tool. You don't see a lot of political tools in red most of the time, so I find this very interesting. Anyway, that is 50 cents for that one. Definitely worth picking up or considering if you have any deck that's relying on haste in particular. This is almost like I would definitely go for this. Anyway, and yeah, you can help out maybe someone who will leave you alone for a turn or two for, you know, a few night tokens. Hey, why not? Urabrask the Hidden. Okay. I think this is the only Praetor I have on my list at all. Praetors are the characters in charge of... They don't really exist, so I shouldn't call them people. Anyway, the characters that are like in charge of the Phyrexians. They're like the Phyrexian generals, basically. So anyway, creatures you control have haste. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. So this doesn't sound super good, but it is like you can say, you know, they can't gain haste, but they come in tapped is even better, right? They can't act on the first turn, they can't be tapped on the first turn. It doesn't matter if they have haste or whatever, right? If they're tapped, you can't use them. You can't block with them. They, you know, like even the first turn, if they don't have haste, they could still block if they weren't tapped, right? So this stops them from doing anything for their first turn. Even if they have haste, it doesn't matter. They can't do anything, all right? So this is kind of like, again, very much a counter strategy card, where like if you know someone that plays a fast red deck with a lot of haste stuff in it, include this and just shut it down, right? Basically turning off the deck. For $1.04, I think this is worth picking up a couple just to have, you know, just in case. Again, it is an off button. Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs. Okay, so whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks to you, create a 3/3 red creature token unless they pay 3. So this is another take on the Pillow Fort strategy. We talked about the Pillow Fort strategy in an earlier video. I think we had Ghostly Prison. Basically, they have to pay a tax to be able to attack you with a creature. So if they attack you with one creature, Ghostly Prison says they have to pay 2 to be able to attack you at all. Here, they can attack you, but you immediately get to make... If they don't pay 3... you immediately get to make a 3/3 red creature token. So if they don't have trample, they pay 3 or you have a blocker, right? They attack you, they don't pay 3, you make a 3/3, you block with the 3/3. Their attack does nothing, right? So it is a very good card. 14 cents only. 14 cents. The kind of distance that even Ghostly Prison, like, you have to pay 2 to attack with each creature. This, I honestly think this is better. When it comes to, like, the kind of, like, mental game, you know, if your opponent is thinking, oh, do I attack him, pay 3, or give him a 3/3? Probably just, you know, especially if they have options, they'll just attack someone else. If they don't have options, if it's a 2-player game, I guess they don't take their turn then. They put all their mana into just like attacking you with 2 or 3 creatures, and that costs them 9, and then they can't cast any spells. Like, yeah. They lose their turn, basically, because they want to attack you. They cannot do anything else. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Or you get a bunch of token creatures to block them with. Oh, yeah. Anyway, Fervent Champion. So this is a different one. He has First Strike and Haste. So a lot of red creatures have haste. I think you probably noticed. There's a lot of haste here. And I can't see. That's fun. Equipped abilities on him cost 3 less. So again, you -3 even, and it doesn't specify to a minimum of 1 or anything like that. So if you have, say, a deck full of things where the equip cost is 3 and under, you equip him for free, right? He is not legendary. That's the only unfortunate thing. So yeah. Fumiko was legendary, I meant to point that out, but anyway, Space Cadet here. He also can give a +1 to another knight attacking. You know, sure, why not? That's probably why he's 9 cents, because one of his abilities is just kind of, yeah, it's there, you know, like, his card would probably be worth more if it didn't have that ability on it. If he didn't give +1 to another knight attacking, he would be like, oh, you can equip him super cheap. That's actually really useful. I want to do that. But anyway, he has like a red lightsaber, so that's weird in Magic, but okay, whatever, you know. I'm just overthinking it now. Also, equipment decks in red are a thing, so this is a card that's nice to have for that, especially like Boros. White-red is Boros. If you have Boros, it is very likely a very aggressive equipment deck. Although they are branching out quite a bit from there. Port Razor. So this is one of those cards that used to be like $5 and over. So whenever it deals combat damage to a player, untap each creature you control. There is an additional combat phase. I'm trying to say like 3 words at the same time. Doesn't work. No, it doesn't. It can only attack once per turn. Is the kind of the downside, or the thing that limits it from being absolutely crazy. So it's a 4/4 for 5 mana. That's, you know, But extra combat phases is crazy good, right? Everyone wants extra combat phases, so adding combat phases is one of those things where, like, yeah, this card used to be a lot more expensive. I think it will probably go up again. Because mono red combat phases is just a very, you know, good thing. Even if it's only 1 extra combat. But anyway, Franco, Tin Street Merchant. Oh, sorry. Kingpin. Tin Street Kingpin. I think Tin Street Merchant is a different card. I don't know why I had that in my head. So if he attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on him, then create goblin tokens equal to Krenko's power. I think did I talk about this one before, or a different Krenko? I've talked about the main kind of Commander Krenko, and maybe this one, but anyway, useful to most goblin decks. Mono red goblin decks are very popular and very powerful. Yeah, so you get something like this, and then something like Warstorm Surge, for instance, or Impact Tremors. Impact Tremors, every time a creature comes in, you do 1 damage to each opponent. So basically, yeah, you create a bunch of tokens, equals automatic damage to everyone else. This auto damage is something that red has a lot of. It's what I usually look for in red, that's for sure. But anyway. Okay, so he can get very big and create a lot of goblins. Again, equal to his power. This is a very easy card to kind of hack. Equip him with, you know, anything. Give him bonus damage. He makes more creatures when you do that. So, especially with some kind of evasion as well, would make him, like, almost scary good. And he makes himself bigger every turn as well. So, hey. I always get, like, hiccups or something when I'm recording. Panicked Altasar. So, this has reach. So this has kind of got everything I'm looking for in a reach creature. Okay, so first of all, it's a 4 or 5, so it can take quite a bit of damage. And it has reach, again, except for dragons. Flyers usually have lower damage. So the dragons definitely do not, but anyway. This has reach and 4 power. That's enough to kind of dissuade a lot of people with flyers from attacking you at all. I think that gets underrated when people are just like, oh, I just won't attack you. Pillow Fort strategies, people love it. Including this into your deck, people skip on it. You know, it's the same thing. It's the same function. You're doing the same thing. Anyway, remember you can use abilities of creatures at any time. So wait until it's the player before you, their end step, on their end step, like right before their end step. Tap this, and it deals 2 damage to each opponent. So every turn, you're doing bonus damage to each opponent. Bonus red damage, which you can add extra damage to as well, with cards like what is coming up here. Witty Roastmaster. This, I think, is kind of, basically, it's Impact Tremors on a creature, okay? I just talked about Impact Tremors. This is Impact Tremor creature. 42 cents. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'll go back. 15 cents, if I didn't say how much that guy was. Panicked Altasaurus, 15 cents. Witty Roastmaster, 42 cents, right? So, whenever another creature enters the battlefield, Witty Roastmaster deals 1 damage to each opponent. Again, I think this is a card a lot of people have already seen and are familiar with, but just in case you're not, it's good to know. And it is 42 cents. Like, it's cheap, right? This is a very cheap way to get that auto damage in. This is something I picked up several of, because I know I'm going to be using it in many decks. Definitely one of those toolbox cards I was talking about. And Torben, Thane of Red Fell. Oh boy, this guy. 137. This is one of the ones that falls under, used to be much more expensive and came way down. This guy was well over $5 for a while. I don't remember exactly, but yeah. I bought I think 2 about a couple months ago, and they were like $3 a piece. And it goes down, of course, after I buy them. Because, you know, yeah. Anyway, if a red source that you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, they're just being very cautious here. basically is bonus 2 damage is what I would say. Whenever a red source does damage, it does bonus 2 damage. So, and that includes for the things like Witty Roastmaster or Impact Tremors, where, you know, creature comes in, automatic 1 damage, plus 2 from this. So 3 damage. Every time you get a creature coming into the battlefield, 3 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage. Just stacking up. Especially if you have Witty Roastmasters, not Toastmasters, anyway. Witty Roastmaster, singular, and Impact Tremors, plural, then you would get 6, and this guy. Yeah, sorry. And this guy, then 6 damage for each creature. Again, it does not say non-token creature, just creature. Every time a creature comes in, you're doing 6 damage, 6 damage, 6 damage to everyone. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. 137 only. 137 now. So I got this actually from the Eldraine set, not Wilds of Eldraine, the previous Eldraine set. So I was very happy with that. I think I got 2 of those actually. So this was the first visit. I don't know why anyway. This was the first video on Budget Red staples. The next video will be on instants and sorceries. There will be a third video on the remaining card types. So I kind of wish I had a convenient way to refer to all the other stuff, but there isn't really. But so anyway, the remaining permanents, maybe non-creature permanents. But anyway, okay, yeah. Okay, and all right, everyone, take it easy, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.